Shannon?
Dying.
Hey. If you're watching this video, you've probably already gotten the Jeep bug. We're not going to spend a lot of time going through the stats on the Jeep Wrangler, other than it has a V6 engine, 285 horsepower. It is four-wheel drive, and they're a lot of fun to drive with the top off. Why you've come to this video is because you want to know what others' experiences are now that they've been driving the Jeep for a while. Well, we paired up with Shannon and Zlatko, a young couple. This is not only their first Jeep, it's also their first new car. And we're going to spend a little bit of time with them and find out what they think about their new Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Sport. I bet you could drive around without this. People with that Jeep. Alright, good morning and welcome to the Full Octane Garage. Today we are going to take a look at a 2017 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Sport. This vehicle has about 20,000 miles on it, and it's right at 1 year old. And so we're going to do a 1 year review with it. Have with me the owner of the vehicle, Shannon Smith.
Hi.
So Shannon, what made you decide to buy a Jeep Wrangler to begin with?
It was my dream car since I've been 10. And we like the idea of being able to take the top and the doors off. That was our big selling point to us. And then it was all-wheel drive, since we don't have another all-wheel drive car.
So what are your first impressions with the car so far after having it for a year?
It's very fun to drive. It handles very well. It's a great daily driver, except for the gas mileage, which is pretty low, 17.6 miles per gallon on average. We enjoy it. We take it on trips a lot to falls. We don't really off-road in it much, due to it still having stock tires and stock suspension.
So you use this car as a daily driver. You drive it back and forth to work 20 miles a day each way in traffic. How's it work for you there?
It's very comfortable. There's plenty of space. There's lots of room in the back. The seats fold down very easily, so it's very great for shopping and all that other things.
Now you have a couple dogs.
Yes, we have two very large dogs, and they both fit in the back comfortably.
They like riding in the truck?
They love riding in the truck. There's a lot of space for them compared to the cars. So the only problem we have is they climb on the wheel wells and it makes the carpet fold down.
So you like driving with the top down or the top off? What's your favorite configuration driving it?
The two-piece freedom tops off and the two front doors being off.
You're not a very big girl. What's it like for you taking those doors off? Because I think you said the doors weigh 67 pounds apiece.
It doesn't happen. I can't take them off. Zlatko has to take them off for me. They're really heavy, and the hardest part about it is making sure you don't mess up the hinges when you lift it up out. Right or left?
Right. So it's is it more about taking them off or putting them on?
I think it's more about putting them on, because you have to line up the top hinge and the bottom hinge at the same time. It takes two people, really. One person with muscle and the other person to guide it.
And you had an issue where you actually had a hinge damage putting a door back on.
Yeah, one of our friends stripped the hinge on the door, and we had to have the whole hinge replaced because they don't just fix the bolt.
Okay. And that's the type of thing that can happen. You're going to get a lot of Jeep enthusiasts that do this every day, and they're going to say, you know, that that's not an issue. But if you're new to the Jeep and you haven't done it before, that's something you need to be aware of when you're taking those doors on and off. If you don't keep them square and make sure they're lined up when you put them in and on, a 67-pound door is big enough to bend a hinge or strip a hinge.
Well, the problem was he tightened it too much. We have like a wrench that tightens it, and he tightened it too much. It also can happen with the 2 Freedom panels as well. There's screws that screw into the top, and you can strip those as well. We haven't done that. We're really careful with it after stripping the door hinge.
How many people does it take to take the top off? Because you have a hard top.
We've done it with 3 or 4 people. It took 4 people when we had to flip it upside down. We don't have a garage, so we had to take it into our front door or our back door, and it's not a double door, so we actually had to flip the top on its back, and one of us had to slide up underneath.
What have you had any issues with the Jeep in the last year that you owned it?
Nothing huge. The biggest problem I think we've had was probably the durability of the carpet and the seats. The seats, we don't take the top off very much at all because we don't have a garage to keep it in, but the seats are already fading in the front seat, and the carpet's already bending in the back. The USB port doesn't work at all right now. We don't know why. It just quit working. Sweet.
Right.
And the top on the right side has a little leak. If it rains and you make a sharp left turn, water can pour into the side.
Okay, so not a perfect experience, but nothing that's left you on the side of the road or anything.
No, it's really reliable for that. We've taken it on a couple long trips and really enjoyed it.
So what kind of gas mileage do you get?
17.6.
17.6. I guess the real question is, would you buy another one?
Yeah.
Okay. What would you buy differently than you did this time? Well, actually, let's look at the configuration that you've got right now. This is the Unlimited Sport is a base model Jeep. You got some extra, like information package or electronics package or whatever that included that Bluetooth or the USB stuff, right?
Yes.
But other than that, you didn't add anything as far as suspension or anything that goes when you bought the Jeep.
No, it's just the Sport Unlimited package.
Okay, so what are your plans with this Jeep? What are you going to do with it?
We would like to do a 1/2-inch lift, replace the rims and the tires when it comes time.
A 1/2-inch lift or a 2-inch lift?
1/2 inch. We don't want to do a big lift because
Okay.
it's a daily driver, and the bigger lift that you do and the more you mess with it, the worse it is to drive. Since this is the daily driver, we can't do a lot with it. But we have to wait till after the warranty wears off because we did buy it new. We don't want to void anything. That's the biggest thing I think we want to change. The other thing we looked at doing was the slanted soft top, because it's a lot easier to get off during the summer, and the hard top really isn't convenient since it's so very heavy, and the back window actually swings open. Nothing holds it tight. So if you're not careful, you can swing the back window up and bust it. And if you bust the back window, you might as well replace the top.
Okay. Now that's another challenge with owning a Jeep, especially with the hard top, is you need a space the size of a Jeep to put the hard top in the doors.
Yes.
When you're in that configuration, and at that point in time, you're kind of subject to the weather because this truck as it sits is not waterproof on the inside.
No.
So you don't want to get it wet. So you just have to plan your Jeep adventures and have some place to go if there's a potential that the weather is going to get wet. You can store the Freedom tops in the back behind the...
And the Freedom tops are easy. I can do the Freedom tops. I can take them off within 5 minutes and put them on within 5. Right. It's really not a hard thing.
The only thing I noticed with those is you take the Freedom tops off, and if you have the vehicle unsecured, like the doors are off or whatever, and you hang them over the back headrest, it would be relatively easy for someone to come by and just pick that bag up and walk away with it.
Yeah, we haven't had that problem, but I guess that could happen. When we have the doors off, we don't keep the Freedom tops in the car.
Right.
And we don't keep anything of value in it, usually, because it's so easy for somebody just to come in with the doors off. You kind of have to, it's a plan thing. It's not something you can be like, hey, let's take the doors off today. You have to really plan, especially since we don't have a garage. It's a commitment to take the doors off and to take the top off because you have to have somewhere to store it.
And what was your solution for storing the top, since you don't have a garage and you live in basically a 2-bedroom condominium?
We used it as our dining room table for about a week.
Ingenious.
It works. I mean, it was great.
As we've stated before, this young couple are just finishing up their first year of their Jeep experience, with many more years to come. If you out there have more experience or more information, feel free to leave some comments in the bottom, and let's help them get more out of their Jeep experience. A couple items of note: the top, if you haven't had a Jeep before, the hard top does take some planning. It takes a significant amount of time, probably 20 or 30 minutes, to take everything off of the Jeep and configure it for a completely unencumbered type situation. Also, there's been a struggle with getting the dealer to take care of some of the issues that they've got. Probably not a universal issue, but certainly something to look at when you're purchasing a Jeep from your local dealer.
What's
wrong with her arms?
Shit!
Watch your potty mouth.